Hi guys, so today what I'm going to be focusing on is one of the easiest things for me personally to draw, and that's different kinds of eyes. A lot of people think that when you start with eyes you can literally just start making an eye. That's a terrible eye, but you get my point. Unfortunately, unless you're doing a portrait of just the eye and the eye alone, you actually have to start with the face, which I realize is not news to a lot of people, but for some it might be. So, always want to catch that. I'm just doing a really basic face shape right now. Realize it's ugly. It's just super basic though, just so you can get the placement. Now, depending on the style of your art, I will be drawing different types of eyes, the kind that I know how to draw. So first off, we're going to start with kind of a realistic view, and exactly dead center of the face is going to be the bottom portion of the eye, so the eye is going to be like right there. Obviously not that big, but that will be the bottom portion of the eye, nose, mouth, whatever. We're not focusing on that. Right now we're focusing on the eye. So, one of the easiest ways for me to keep track of everything is to make layers, so if I'm constantly making new layers, you know why. Going to make that paler so it's easier for you to see, and I probably will be doing this in different colors just so it's easier for you guys to keep track. Now, another thing that's important to keep in mind when drawing the eye, or at least a semi-realistic eye, is proportion and comparison to the rest of the parts of the face. So, nose, the inner edge of the eye will always be right along the same edge as the nose. Wow, I love that stabilizer. So that's kind of be where the inside of the eye, or the inner corner of the eye is. Then with the mouth, so your mouth goes out that far. Again, I love that stabilizer. That's about where your pupil is going to start or be. Depending. It's always lines up with the corner of the mouth. I am stuttery today. I do apologize. So with those lines there, I am going to, of course, make another layer and actually show you step by step how to draw an eye. Now, right now, what we're going to focus on is a single eye. We'll get to two eyes later on. Obviously, though, I am going to address the fact that with two eyes, you do want to do each part at the same time so that it does match better. And one of the most stressful parts about making eyes is getting them to match, but like I said, right now we won't be focusing on two eyes, just the one. Now, I did say that the bottom part of the eye was going to be in dead center, but of course you can fudge it a little bit to be either way. Now, so far I've just done the upper lid and lower lid, and you want to keep it to really basic shapes in the beginning so that it doesn't get too complicated, and you can always add more details later. So I'm just adding each corner of the eye, really basic eye shape. This is a very, very round, wide open eye, more so than I normally would do. But this is mainly just to get the point across. Now, eyes do have that little crease here. I tend to like to do that near the beginning of when I'm creating an eye. I just realized I wasn't doing that on a separate layer, but that's okay. Now, one of the easiest things to do is to just make that giant iris. But that's not what we're doing today, because today we are going to try to focus on a semi-realistic eye. Now, I do say semi because I do prefer to stick to larger eyes, just because I originally learned how to draw in a more anime style. And I realize some people get upset talking about how it's manga, but you understand my point. I'm just going to thicken out these lines just a little bit, just so it's easier to see, kind of add more definition and detail here. Now, this will be going through several layers of editing, and it's always important to keep it in mind with eyes, is that it's not just one straight shot. I'm erasing this because it looks like she's looking, or he, I don't know at this point, too far upward, so I'm going to lower that pupil a little bit. And yes, I know it looks super creepy because we don't have any of the details added, but we can fix that. Now, one thing I have noticed is that my eye is actually in the wrong place, because this is here, but the actually outside of my nose is over here, so it is slanted. So I'm just going to move that over real quick. Super easy. That looked weird. That actually looks super creepy, but moving it over to about there, and see, it's more lined up now. And that looks about right. Now I'm going to go to the next layer and erase a little bit, just so it's not so hard to tell. Ooh, the wonders of layers. You can erase all you want. Normally I would not be drawing the eye first. I would normally draw the other facial features and save the eye for last, but I'm not going through all of that today. That's not what I meant to do. Right now I'm just focusing on the absolute basics. We'll be adding in colors later. Now, normally if you were making a male eye, you would just kind of leave it at this thick, upper lash and the lower lash about here. You don't really worry about eyelashes on men, which is kind of ironic because men actually have nicer eyelashes. But the rest of the way through I am going to be working on a female eye, just because we do have, eyelashes. And the easiest way to do eyelashes is to start in from this inner, different color, let's make that easier for you, from the inner eyelid there, and wisp our way out. I don't know how much easier that is to see. It would help if I had my glasses on, but that's okay. I actually have no clue where my glasses are. That's alright. But you always brush outwards. Now these are some really thick eyelashes. That's like anime pop eyelashes right there. But that's okay. We like eyelashes. Now, bottom eyelashes, a lot of people just like to do it from straight out here, right? But eyes actually don't work that way. We're going for a semi-realistic eye, and there's actually a gap between where the bottom eyelash eyelid meets the eyeball and where the lashes start. So we're going to do that here. I would not emphasize it so much, but I am showing you exactly where that is. Oh crap, I didn't do another layer. That's okay. I love my layers a little way too much, but keep in mind I'm actually fairly new at using this kind of tablet. Okay, see, I'm just going to lower it just a little bit down here, and it is going to meet around the edges. So I'm going to switch to a different color yet again, just so it's easier for you to see. Now, bottom eyelashes you want to keep sparse, and once you hit about the middle, you're going to kind of flip it the other way and just do a couple lashes here and there. I realize this looks like crap right now, but once it's all one color, it'll look pretty good. Now, what people like to focus on next is actually the iris, which would seem like a good idea right about now. So, I am staying on the same layer as the bottom eyelashes just because I don't need to switch layers yet. Let's see, we're going to go for a nice light brown. Oh, wait. You always want to start with the darker color on the outside. So, like, on the outside of the iris, right here, you want the darker color. That's just how eyes work. Don't really know why. It's kind of cool, though. I would not, if you're just a beginner, I would not recommend doing this without some sort of reference. But honestly, at this point, I just draw so many eyes that, why not? And again, if it's something that you're fairly used to, you know what the eye looks like, you don't really need a reference. But never be ashamed to use a reference. Now, I've picked out that color to use on the inside of the iris, but I'm actually not going to do the iris yet. We're going to do the pupil. Now, the pupil, you would think, would be first a black, but it's actually not. Just because that's such a stark contrast, it's really hard to tell. So you kind of actually want to shade out a little bit here to remove a little bit of the creepiness. And this is more of a shadow than anything, and I will be changing it up later. So we have the basic structure of the eye here, and it will look much better, once I'm finished. But I'm actually going to end the video here, because, I'm a new YouTuber. I have a very limited amount of time that I can spend on one video. So I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully we can finish up this eye and actually make it look decent, because it's always going to look weird halfway through the process. So I can't wait to see you guys in the next video and draw with you some more.